Hey, what's going on, guys? Just a little second video on the HOB filters. I didn't get too much into it. Forgive me, I do sidetrack a little bit. Like I said, it's a huge passion of mine, but I'm going to do an actual disassembly of a HOB filter today, and kind of just go over a few things for those of you who are new in the hobby. The one I'm using today is Aquarium. That's the brand I use. They have a lot of like Whisper and Quiet brands, which are a little more quieter, depending on like where you have your aquarium set up. But I know in the first video I was talking about different like filtration and media I use. That's just what I use. Actually forgot to grab it for this video, so let me grab that real quick. So Flue Valve makes a brand, but I also use Marineland. So a lot of your HOB filters come with a cartridge, or it's essentially just a little plastic housing with some polyester media or whatever media they use to pick up the fish waste and debris and stuff of that nature. And they're great, they work. Over time, you're gonna find yourself though like constantly having to clean them, you know, whether that's weekly or whatever. And so that can become time consuming. And depending on how porous it is, meaning like the actual like size of the holes, you have different porous levels, like 4 millimeter, 6 millimeter, and it's essentially just like the thickness of that material. I go with something that's pretty porous and then non-porous. So in the front, I have something that's a little more loose, like this filter floss, picks up the bigger debris, things of that nature, and it kind of just flosses and cleans the water. And then in the front, I might have something that's a little more dense. And I put that in there. I don't really use a lot of the cartridges for my HOB filters. Again, that's just me. They do work, I mean, but I don't have as much time on my hand. So I'm going to use this one. It's going to be a little dirty because it's one of my older filters. And I'm not really going to just go buy a new one and do all that stuff. I might do that later and do a whole video. But this right here, you'll see you have your downspout or your spigot. Now this normally comes assembled or deassembled, and then you have to assemble it. So this is your spout. Your water gets pulled in here. A lot of times I put that sponge or something on here so the fry don't get sucked up in it. And it's a secondary form of filtration. So your water's going through here. A lot of HOBs or hang-on back filters either have a completely sealed, they're all going to be completely sealed impeller or pump systems. Whether they're internal or external is different. So internal, which Aquarium does a pretty good job of, and I actually prefer an internal because it just makes everything easier. And there's less mechanical stuff to go wrong with something where your impeller is housed inside the back of the unit, and so it's external, it's outside the tank, because this would sit on the trim of your tank, right? Well, the impeller and the pump unit and everything's inside, so it's sealed, and I'll show you all that here in a sec. I like how they put a little cutaway trim so you can put your cord so it's not all over the place. But you have your pump here, and inside you'll see is an impeller, and that one that's a 3-fin impeller. And so what these is cool is, yes, if you know what you're doing, you can take this apart, get in there, take apart the housing, and get this impeller. We'll see if we can pop this off real quick. So this housing or this cap pops off, and you have your impeller in here. And so like I was saying in my other video, a lot of times, even if you just have dogs or animals, even if you have lids or don't have lids on your tank, you can get hair, or even from the media itself, you can end up getting different things stuck around this impeller. So I'm going to actually try to get this out. I should have brought my pliers. I'll just use these. So this is a pretty small impeller. This is made for like a 10 or 20 gallon. I think this is the 10 or 20 series. But this is all that's really, this is the main crucial operation of your hang-on back filter. And so there's a spindle in there and it's fixated. Some impellers come with the spindle built into it, and they have little rubber nubs or nipples on them, and that goes into your housing unit. And I'll do a separate video on an external setup rather than this, just so, because a lot of people have filters where the impellers are set up a little bit different. But this drops down on there, and you'll see it's magnetized, so I don't really have to, if I just do that, and it kind of just goes in there. And so this spins, pulls water up through here, through your downspout or your spigot, whatever you want to call it, and it goes into your unit. And this water comes up in through here, and it goes into what's called your overflow. So we'll do a little bit, get a better view of that. So you can kind of see way down in there, your water's coming up, and there's a shelf. So it comes up and it comes through the overflow down into the back of your filter. And then right here you would have a cartridge. And then right here you'd have what Aquarium transitioned to, which I actually like because you're not taking up as much internal media space, is they have a little blue kind of shelf bracket, and it goes just right here. And that holds and helps all your beneficial bacteria grow, all your bio. And it's not directly in the housing. So you have more room to put more media. But yeah, a lot of times I'll just unplug it. I'll take it apart. And I'll normally take that impeller out. And another thing you'll see on here, probably should have kept this off, but no biggie. There we go. On this impeller here, I don't really do filter maintenance unless something's wrong, just because there's a lot of prevention methods, which I'll do a whole nother video on for that. But you can see right here, a lot of times this can get worn down, and it's going to happen. Any filter brand, anything you buy, over time it's going to happen. Or this can get worn down and it's just no longer going to work. So what's cool is you just go on Aquarium's website or whatever filter brand website and you order a new impeller. No biggie. But that's the essential setup. I can tell you that with most filters, if this is clean, there's nothing broken in your housing, this is fully intact, and this epoxy seal here is good, that's holding all the electronic components in there. And if this spindle is good and if it rotates, it's not your impeller, it's your pump. Your pump burnt out, or these don't just burn out. Normally it's something got lodged in here and then it overheated because it couldn't spin. Or I have HOB filters I've had for years and they've never burned out. So most of the time it's something mechanical happened. There's an obstruction and it just burnt out. So you can order a new one of these. I will say that depending on the situation you're in, a lot of times it is cheaper to just buy a new filter altogether, or you can buy the unit itself, and they have all their info and stuff on there. So like I said, most of my HOB filters are either Aquarium or Marineland, so I'll go around and show you all that real quick. Let's see here. This is a Whisper brand, so this is actually a 30 series, but I put it on my 20 because I got indoor guppies breeding in there. So you can see all those guys. Over here I got the Whisper. Another brand I really like to use is a Magia Terrarium. They just came out, they're really good. And yeah, I mean, all of mine are the Aquarium Whisper. And they put a little sensor thing here with the little battery pack, so it kind of tells you when your media is full. I don't really use them. I just like that brand and build because they're durable, they last long, and they're very quiet. The only sound you can really hear from over here is my air pump. So, but in here I got a flower horn, and I got another flower horn here. She's pretty big. I don't even know if I angled that right. There we go. Like I said, apologies for the level of content creation. I don't have all the equipment and cameras and stuff I want right now, so I'm waiting on that. And let's see what these guys are up to. These are all the baby hybrid parrots that I got growing. They're about 2-ish months along, so. But yeah, that's your essential breakdown. We'll do some more in-depth videos of HOB filters and canister filters. Another thing I like to do when I'm putting media in my filters is I do a lot of custom stuff. I know in some of my videos, people are like, Spot Check, why do you have pantyhoses? Well, glad you asked. So I actually use that to put a lot of different media in here. So this stuff is amazing. The zeolite, the ammonia neutralizing crystals. I'll do a blend of that. I'll do some activated carbon, charcoal, whatever. And you can see in a few of my breeding tanks, I actually have 2 layers of that pantyhose, and then I put that media in there and I just let it hang in there. And I'll use bio cubes. So the ceramic or natural, basically cubes are just really porous material for beneficial bacteria to grow on. I'll use that a lot. And I just hang it in there. And I've had like way better water parameters, way clear water. My nitrates are a lot lower, and nitrites, and the ammonia content isn't really present. Another thing I use is biofoam. Now I've gone as far as buying my own sponge material and making my own inserts and things of that nature, and they last a good while. The problem, I want to say problem, but the reason I don't like using inserts, it's just a bunch of random aquarium stuff. A lot of these inserts, they work, but you don't have a lot of media there. You're changing that cartridge all the time, rinsing it out, and over time it's gonna get less dense. It's gonna wear and tear, and you're not gonna be picking up as much debris, and so you're gonna have not as of a clean aquarium. So I just use personal media. I do inserts, things of that nature. I know Flue Valve or Aqua Clear, I think it is, they have an awesome setup where it's literally your filter and then the whole inside is media. And that's really kind of what you want in a HOB setup. Kind of like a canister filter, but just on the back of the tank. And you can do that. So again, we'll probably be releasing a few more videos, things of that nature, getting a little bit more editing in there, better transition, stuff like that. But stay tuned.